Welcome, friends. Welcome, family. What's going on, Ma and Pops, which neither one of them are here today, but welcome you guys to a watch party again on a Wednesday. It's hump day. The week feels like they're moving faster and faster and faster. Maybe it's because we want to generally avoid all the bad news that we always have to go through and dispel and break down. But, I guess the weekend gets a little bit closer, just a little bit fast. Good to see you guys. I pointed that out in the chat before I jumped in. You guys, how many of you guys are really old school watch list watchers that remember the intro? I finally found a way to do it without it being, all like slow and hiccupy. I just jumped straight into it. I think that worked out. Let me just glance for a second. Do you guys remember? It's like the music made it feel like it was super early in the morning again, like when I did it before. But it's about that same time now. Anyways, glad you guys are here. All the nerds showed up early. If you guys like what we're doing, of course, please, we do these videos again after this hour of streaming, leading right into the damage report. So all those stories go back up on the page itself for you guys to check out. Tell your friends, tell your families, tell all those folks what we're doing in case you guys enjoy it. Um, um, it's it's a bit of a mixed energy day for me. I got to be honest. Um, Dragon Shepherd says it's moving faster because I'm getting older. It makes all the sense in the world. I said that to my kid before. It's like, yeah, you think, a few years is a long time, but 5 years ago is like nothing to me now. Um, as I was saying, it's a mixed energy day for me. I've been wanting to highlight more of the real things that are happening in our world. Not that what I'm talking about isn't real, but it's always going towards these folks that are running our country, destroying our lives. But we don't always focus on the people who are fighting for trying to get us past this. And you won't see it many times from major news outlets. You just won't. And I'm not sure, part of it could be the lack of concern for those real movements or whether or not they're as effective as they could be. Yesterday, I talked about some veterans that are organizing in DC. I should check in to see how that's going. As they said, they're having a sit-in there, they're near Union Station. And I just want to show people actually doing what it is that needs to be done on the streets, because we're seeing representation from either party and everywhere in between that's kind of limited, even when they say they're looking to resist. Look at the leadership of the Democratic Party now, people like Hakeem Jeffries, who, we know what he does. But I want to show what organizations are doing on the streets, what people are doing when they're pushing back just with the camera phone now, that are really trying to show and stop this fascist takeover of our country. I think it's the biggest story that we can focus on. Um, and of course, all of it is connected. That's why I still talk about the Epstein files, because that's some of the things that these guys are covering up. So I say all that to just say, I want to start with this continued occupation in Washington, D.C. It's trying to become normalized now. All of the excuses for it are just beginning to flow off of people's tongues like it's just normal, and especially from the water carriers in the propaganda channels that push this guy's talking points constantly. But I want to start here with this DC attorney who was a victim of police brutality and was standing in the middle of the street with a tank top on and some shorts as they held him there for I don't know how long, 30 minutes to an hour, looking for something to be wrong. And it's a story that so many people in this country have seen and have talked about and get pushed off and told that you're playing the race card. But when you have a fascist racist in the White House, it becomes normal. Here, let's start.
An officer of the DC bar, that these officers are violating my civil rights under federal law, and I will be pressing charges on everyone who has physically touched me tonight, who has applied pressure to me in ways that I will not forget anytime soon. This is tragic. In a country where black men are being killed by people that look just like this, I was sneered at, I was ignored, and I was not told why I was being detained.
What are the names of the two officers holding you right now?
This officer at Costello, he has his name blocked off. I do not know what it is, and I don't want to touch him for fear of my life. This is an FBI agent who I do not know.
Aren't they only allowed to hold you for 10 minutes without charging you?
They are trying to manufacture evidence. I do not have a magazine in my weapon because my magazine is in the trunk of my vehicle, which they would have known if they would have asked me. They did not ask me.
Again, like I said, that's a DC attorney that was being held, and folks were filming it because yeah, we need some more actual street journalists showing what's going on, or else they can continue to do this in the cover of darkness. He was being held as they're looking for something on him. Let's let him continue telling his story. Here's the second half of him being held there by these, this Gestapo members of Trump's personal army that are there to harass United States citizens.
To the American people watching, this is what calling out a failed system looks like. Again, I was walking peacefully down this block and I was accosted by 20, no less than 20 MPD, FBI, ATF agents and officers. I am not crazy. I am totally sane. I have complied with all of these officers' requests, and 30 minutes after being detained, I remain detained and not created able to go. I do not know what charges. I do not know why I'm being detained. I was given no information. No officers are offering me any type of credence, no type of respite, nothing. Simply stand here, you nigger, and be handcuffed while we wait to find magazines that do not exist, or we will find one for you. I assume that is the case.
These officers need to understand when they're being used for the purposes of pursuing this fascist takeover of the city, and they think they're just doing their jobs. That's an excuse that doesn't fly. We've always talked about it. So anytime people begin to wonder how it is that so many people went along with Nazi takeovers of cities and invasions of other countries, and these decisions to go after certain groups of people, and then figure out that they should just eliminate them from society, as we're seeing it slowly happen here, you're seeing why. There was always, as I was growing up, there was always people saying, man, I wonder what I would have done in that time. You can find out right now what you would be doing, because they're doing it again. They're going by the exact same playbook. It's why they don't want you to learn your history. It's why they don't want you to know the way things have always been and how they've implemented the policies that they wrote down like a terrorist manifesto as this guy was running for office. They're following the book. He talked about all these different agents from different agencies that collected on him, talking about some gun and magazines that they're looking for, as he told them, as it's legal to have in this country. Last I remembered, it's legal to carry a legal firearm in this country and own one, especially when the magazine isn't even in the firearm, as again, they refused to find out from him. So again, all these folks that have always been wondering when this overreaching government's going to come for your Second Amendment rights to bear arms, it's here. Except it's from the guy who said he's on your side. It should be easy to tell, because again, they're looking for crime as they hold that DC attorney for however long that they did, and except the crime that the National Guard that's been sent in to fight, apparently it's McDonald's cups and wrappers and napkins. Watch. Middle of Washington, D.C. National Guardsmen now in reflective pennies with on the top of their camouflaged fatigues, walking around with black garbage bags through parks that I don't see even any garbage in, as they're searching for maybe a straw wrapper, looking for maybe someone that dropped a penny or a nickel on the ground. That's what they're being deployed for. That's what they're now being used for. This is the purpose of Donald Trump's military presence in Washington, D.C. He wants it to look normal now. Folks are running in the background on their morning jogs as folks in military fatigues walk around like that. That's what normalization of this stuff looks like. So that there's this idea that at any moment, as they now, as of this week, began to allow these folks to have firearms now on them, to make it more intimidation on the American people, that they said they would not target. This video has been going around, or this post has been going around of Kamala Harris, who of course ran against Donald Trump, pointing out that he's going to send the military into the streets to go after American citizens. They laughed at her. They said she was overreacting. This woman must be emotional. except everything that she's been saying has turned into reality. I'm waiting for the apologies. I'm waiting for the people to say, my bad. I forgot that I was watching him tell us he was going to do all this stuff. My bad. Here are the gulags. Here are the foreign prisons. Here is his personal army walking around the streets with guns out now, telling people what to do, where they can go, and why are you here, based off of what it is he wanted them to do. Here's more details about also speaking of fraud, waste, and abuse. Commissioner Joe Bishop Henchman in DC said, step one, he's talking about these guys walking around the streets with garbage bags instead of fighting crime like Trump says they are. He says, step one, ban DC from spending local funds, forcing the city to cut $300 million and scale back trash collection. Step two, activate the National Guard at $1 million a day to collect trash. And he's wondering what step three just might be. Step three is that normalization of all those things, so that then anytime anybody finally rises up and gets tired of the way that this guy is trying to treat citizens of this country, stealing our taxpayer dollars and then unleashing people with guns to put in your face, they're ready for the fight before people realize that they're going to have to fight. So as usual, the propaganda channels for Donald Trump's, his regime, Jesse Waters is one of the, he's one of the clowns with, the bulbous nose, and he dances around like a joker, and he tries to help with the normalization of this by making jokes.
DC's so safe, the Guard doesn't have any criminals left to chase. They're picking up litter, cleaning up the park so Stephen Miller can take his wife on a romantic stroll under the moonlight.
So that's supposed to be har, but what it is the normalization of this, and even bringing up Stephen Miller, so Stephen Miller can take his wife out to dinner. The elites, again, all you folks that thought he's coming for the normal, regular, everyday, average Joe American, what Jesse Waters is concerned with is allowing the elites like Stephen Miller, his right-hand man, his Joseph Goebbels, to take his wife out for dinner in DC, because now we've taken over the city, decimated the restaurants, forced people into their homes where they're afraid to step out in American city, the capital of the country, so that the elites can go out with their wives. I think he thought he was joking, but the problem is he's speaking a little bit too much truth in this window into what it is that they're planning. Stephen Miller doesn't want to have to deal with you plebes. He and his wife want to go out into the streets of these empty DC restaurants so that they can have nice dinners that they can be separate from the rest of these folks that they hate and despise, but they're still stealing their money. All we got to do is pay attention to the things that they're doing and they're saying. So when is this going to end? You might ask them, right? They've stopped all the crime. Jesse Waters just told us they've got no more crime to fight. So now they're picking up garbage. Someone should probably relay that to Jeanine Pirro, because she's the DC attorney now, right? She was asked about when they can leave, and think about the point that Jesse Waters just made about crime.
Will you recommend to the president that this surge has worked and it's time to let federal agents go back to their jobs and National Guard go home?
That's up to the president. That's up
He
to the
calls you and
president.
says, Judge Pirro, we ready? What's I think we're all looking for a metric. We're all looking for something on a report card that people can strive for to say, okay, DC is back in control.
How about this? How about when they make no arrests? Do you think that'll ever happen?
That's unattainable. I mean, there's no city in America, there's no city in the world where that's happened.
Well, this is, I think, an example of what happens when you put power to the message. Cities don't have the power that the president is investing in DC.
They're going to go home when Donald Trump, the guy who says he's your new dictator, says they should. She has no idea. She didn't have an answer for the question. At what point, what's the gauge? What's the measuring stick for when it's time and you've liberated DC? Has nothing to do with crime. Jeanine Pirro just confirmed that again. It's when Donald Trump says so, when he's done occupying your city, which sounds like it's forever. He's already beginning to fight and talk about how after his 30-day occupation status that he thinks he has legal authority to do, afterwards, he's just going to stay there anyway. What are you going to do about it? I've got guys with guns in your faces. When are we going to leave? Maybe when there's no crime left is the answer that she probably pulled out of her ass then later, because she knows that doesn't make any sense. maybe she should talk to Jesse Waters because he just said there's no more crime. It's already all over. Zero. Trump is talking about it. Zero arrests. Nothing's happening. We're totally done. There's no more crime in the street. There's been zero crime. Why are you still there then? Because they were never there to stop any crime. What they were there for is to occupy the city, have this show of force, tell the American people, you've been invaded. Here's Wes Moore, who he was fighting with before. He's the governor of Maryland. And he wanted to, again, clarify. And the best things that I saw him saying before, earlier on this week or late last week, was how much he's misusing this National Guard for these purposes. But, you know, this guy's just a decorated veteran. Who cares, right?
And the thing that gets me most about this is how deeply disrespectful this is to members of the National Guard who signed up for this job, as I did when I deployed overseas and I led paratroopers in combat, where we signed up with the expectation that the commander-in-chief and the people who was declaring our orders was actually taking it seriously. And the problem is we are seeing a lack of seriousness from the President of the United States to a very serious situation. And that's why I invited him to come to Baltimore, to come be educated, to come learn, so he doesn't have to spout nonsense from the Oval Office and things that are just blatantly not true about what is actually happening and the work that's happening in coordination to make people feel safer in their neighborhoods.
Does that?
And the thing that gets me most about this,
it was never, ever once about crime. So I think Wes Moore knows that. That's why he continues to push this one point about, I invited him here to see the way we're really doing it, if you're actually concerned about crime. So then when he won't respond to actually doing anything about it, maybe to some people who are thinking past the first phase that he doesn't care about it. He has to avoid looking for solutions to crime. What he's there is for punishment, for intimidation, for occupation. He's a fascist. It's like we already knew that for the people who had some kind of derangement syndrome and listened to what it is that he told you he would do. So you have to defy the governors, the mayors of these cities, and just say, I'm going to go take it over because I feel like it, because I want to. I would love to talk to the people who keep saying that we're going to have this occupation and takeover and overreaching of our federal government, and I'm ready to fight back. Where you at? He took you and put you in his personal army to go after folks. So again, look at how far this is going to stretch to. I mentioned his Joseph Goebbels, Stephen Miller, who apparently wants to go out to Washington, D.C. with his wife. That's the purpose of this occupation and the suppression of folks' businesses. This is how things go from we're going after illegal immigrants, violent, radical, rapists, murderers, and killers, to then to then undocumented, nonviolent migrants, to then legal status migrants, to then American citizens, to then people who oppose us. And now look at where Stephen Miller is reaching it to now. It's that oppositional party that shouldn't exist. And he's going to tell you why in the most fascist terms possible.
Democrat Party does not fight for, care about, or represent American citizens. It is an entity devoted exclusively to the defense of hardened criminals, gangbangers, and illegal alien killers and terrorists. The Democrat Party is not a political party. It is a domestic extremist organization. Look at Chicago. They've shut down the police department. They've handcuffed law enforcement, and as President Trump says, they have turned the streets of Chicago into a bloody killing field. Here in Washington, D.C., before President Trump launched the federal law enforcement liberation in D.C., there was a murder on the streets of this town every other day. Body after body after body after body. That was Washington, D.C. Residents were afraid to go to restaurants. They were afraid to go into entire neighborhoods. They were getting carjacked right and left, robbed and beaten. That was Washington, D.C. Now we're 2 weeks homicide free, the safest the city has ever been in its entire history. And the Democrats, instead of jumping up and down and saying, thank you, President Trump, thank you for saving our lives, thank you for saving our cities, thank you for scrubbing away all the graffiti, the trash, the homeless encampments, the druggies, instead of cleaning up the city, instead of thanking him for that, they're saying, President Trump, how dare you save our lives? How dare you save our children? How dare you save our city? The Democrat Party, Sean, that exists today, it disgusts me. I do not recognize that party, Sean.
It's the beginning of the criminalization of opposition. The Democratic Party is a terrorist organization. The Democratic Party is in support of crime. He doesn't like that Democratic Party. He and he alone doesn't like it. So we need to do something about it. Are you waiting for that step next? Again, the suppression of education, the suppression of history, and a lack of knowledge of how things unfolded is the reasons why they're able to do this in front of so many people's faces, and people don't go, wait, what? Or they go, wait, I guess I'll go back to my TikToks. Oh man, the next season of my favorite show is coming on. They keep you distracted and they keep you entertained while this guy goes on TV and literally sets up the next step of criminalizing opposition. It's almost like they're Nazis. So when are we going to stop acting like they're not Nazis? Elon Musk gave you the signal on Inauguration Day. But we had discussions and arguments and debates about, was that really a Nazi salute? Or was it just some kind of Roman salute? Or is he just having fun? Or is he autistic? Or is he a genius? Or is he a Nazi? Or is he finally celebrating the way he always wanted to? We're here and we're taking over this country. They've been implementing the policies ever since. You don't have to care about a salute. The salute is a signal of the actions behind this guy's meaty ass head. So we're talking about Stephen Miller going out to restaurants. Here, in case you guys don't know this part too, they've been telling you the restaurants were booming. Here's a little bit more proof in case we didn't, want to listen to the first 17 people that said that that's not the case. Scott McFarlane of CBS News says DC Councilmember Brianne Nadeau says that the Trump takeover of DC is decimating businesses. Quote, some businesses aren't even opening. Either they don't have staff coming or they're concerned about opening for their customers. We have daycares that are afraid to take the kids out to the park because they're afraid that their staff will be picked up by ICE. It's very quiet, and not just because it's summertime. But they'll tell you we're in the golden age. They'll tell you that DC is booming. They'll tell you that people are whispering, hey, National Guardsmen, can you point that gun in my face a little more? I love seeing it. Because that's how propaganda works. Man, I went far on this. Let's go to this next thing, because this is inspirational to me. I want to give more credit and shine some more spotlights on the people who are doing serious work. The activists, the people that they've been telling you way before Donald Trump came into office as the fascist that he is. They always want to push back against community organizers. Remember, that was the nefarious name for Barack Obama. They push back against political activists, this activist culture. Look at these activists. You know what activists do? They get ignored because when you actually take a look at them, you'll see that they're in the streets. Are you seeing these parts of the opposition in Washington, D.C.? Because I think it is worth seeing the occupational forces, but also the people pushing back in the streets and the folks that know what they're doing and the people that are really working to liberate the city. Check this out. There's a little bit of cursing going on here in case you guys want to, earmuff it.
We out here because they think they can take over our city. They want this fascist take over, but whose streets do these look like, Chuck? Whose streets do they look like? They look like our motherfucking streets. Okay, fuck the police. Okay, fuck the police. Okay, fuck the police. Okay, okay. Hey, give us here. We keep us safe. Say it loud and say it clear. Say it loud and say it clear. Donald Trump ain't welcome here. Donald Trump ain't welcome here. Say it loud and say it clear. Say it loud and say it clear. Donald Trump ain't welcome here. Donald Trump ain't welcome here. Show them what they need to hear. Show them what they need to hear. Racist pigs ain't welcome here. Racist pigs ain't welcome here.
It's the stuff we feel like we saw in civil rights eras and when hippies were jumping out in the streets and protesting wars. And we was like, oh man, look at the inspiration and the fire that Americans had. We still have it. They just don't want to show it to you. They don't want you to know that you can be a part of doing something for real. We outnumber them. There's a smaller and smaller number of these rich elites that are controlling every aspect of our lives. That's why they're taking away your healthcare and your education and your housing and your social safety net, so that you don't have anything else, and they've got control of it all. People are in the streets. They've been in the streets since before this guy got into office. They've been doing community activist work before he took over their city. They're now ready to go. Matter of fact, all these multiple agencies are running around the streets arresting anybody that they deem a criminal. And again, the folks are coming out, and it's a diverse group. So it's not just those scary minorities that they keep telling you they're going after.
Out here feeding the community, giving them information about how to know their rights when additional cops come, harass and terrorize our fucking community.
Every single one of you fucking terrorists.
Detaining homeless individuals, our neighbors, looking ugly as shit doing it.
What y'all take it?
I wanted to go fucking live. That's so much. This is Ward 7. This is on Minnesota Ave. We were just trying to feed our community. Why are there people with guns this size in our fucking neighborhood? That's what I want to know. Like, screenshot it. I can't even get it.
Don't play the camera back. He wasn't in the car.
I don't know why you need phone, because you've got your fun funny camera. I thought you were actually very, very good at being good at your job because your camera's already on. Why do you need to take camera on your phone?
Run me through. I got nothing to hide. He was just over there with us. Y'all are the ones that got something to hide. We don't give a fuck, girl. You're not from here.
Okay, so people in the gas station who are looking, you're gonna fucking film them? They can't look, they can't watch. Are you kidding me?
These are the folks that are pushing back and fighting back. And you don't have to see it on NBC and ABC and CBS News and all them. They're there. You just have to go find the things that they're putting up. And that first woman that started the whole thing off at the beginning, I'm going to give some of the names that are part of this organization. And it's more than just being in the streets and pushing back and recording and trying to intimidate back and show them that these folks who live here don't want you here to terrorize them. Frankie Centric was that first woman at the beginning of those protests that was talking about how they're walking through the streets. And Chuck Modi is doing a lot of the recording of these moments. I want to give them credits. You can find so many of the things that they're doing. It's inspirational and it's very informative. It's not just this part. In fact, tomorrow I may do a deeper dive into Frankie's court watching that she's doing, because it doesn't stop in the streets as they're arresting people randomly. And speaking of arresting and monitoring people, as I said, it's a diverse group of folks. So in case you think those other folks are scared, there's young folks like this guy here who's telling his story of simply doing what so many people get arrested for: recording these secret military and Trump's personal police snatching people off the streets.
You've been out here watching the police, making sure they don't do more fascist things. What has been the result? We were just having a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm 19 years old. I am a student, and there's no reason for this. But I was at a restaurant with my mom in Logan Circle yesterday. It was an unmarked DHS car. I know they're DHS because I know what the car looks like, and they were right outside the restaurant. I left my house to go to work this morning. There's an unmarked car outside of there. I left work to go home. There's an unmarked car outside. Went to go to the walk to the metro. There's an unmarked car following me down the street. They're targeting and systematically trying to intimidate journalists and folks who are trying to document what's going on. I'm out there every day. I recognize these agents, and they recognize me, and they're trying to intimidate me. It's not going to stop. We're going to keep fighting fascism. As long as I'm on these streets and not in handcuffs, which I hope doesn't happen, I will be doing the exact same thing, and I'm not going to stop.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
Absolutely. Our liberations are interconnected. The liberation of Palestine, the liberation of minorities and working people, the liberation of our immigrant communities. They're all together. We all have to join in this fight, and it is so, so important that we continue to do that. DC is strong, and we're going to get through this together.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
It was similar stories in Los Angeles. We saw videos of folks that were watching ICE agents try and break out into communities, hit up Home Depots, and they were just recording them. And then they would loop back around, follow them, try to intimidate them, bang on their windows. It's an occupying force. I I know I say it all the time, but I feel like enough people don't really realize it. We're in that moment. Like, this is like one of those things when you go, it's time, bro, or they're going to just do it. They told us that's their plan. And so you guys remember we were talking about how they're just running through the streets going after folks. And that young guy is some of the people that they're targeting. Well, for the filming part. Remember when Janine Pirro was talking about how they want to go after younger and younger people, the young radicals. That's why they would show those smash and grab videos from 3 years ago on Fox News, as they're talking about how we have to lower the age for the people that we can throw into jail and try as criminals. Janine Pirro, remember this? Watch.
We have got to lower the age of criminal responsibility in Washington, D.C. The gangs and the crews are 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old. I can't touch them. Ainsley, if someone shoots someone with a gun and they're 17 years old and that person does not die, I can't prosecute them. They can be in DuPont Circle, but they know that we can't touch them. Why? Because the laws are weak. I can't touch you if you're 14, 15, 16, 17 years old and you have a gun. I convict someone of shooting another person with an illegal gun on a public bus in the chest, intent to kill. I convict him. And you know what the judge gives him? Probation. Says you should go to college. We need to go after the DC Council and their absurd laws. We need to get rid of this concept of, no cash bail. We need to recognize that the people who matter are the law-abiding citizens.
The people who matter. That's differentiating between many Americans that she doesn't think matter. And again, that's based off of their random crime stats that they don't even keep. There's black holes behind the arrests that they keep saying that they're making. There's no more records of this. They're taking people off the streets and it's turning into whoever it is that they just don't like. They're saying it right in front of us. Can you think about this? The number one DC prosecutor just said, I want to go after 14, 15, 16-year-olds. She said she wants the teenagers. She wants to go after them. And by the way, remember that whole thing about how, she wants to go after these folks and punish them with these illegal guns. There was a reporter that asked her about them stripping funding that's gun preventative measures so that more guns will be on the streets. What is she doing to stop the crime? She wants more of the crime. We just saw her say that when there's zero crime is when we'll finally stop occupying this city. Therefore, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that there's more crime. Again, you guys want to hear it? They asked her what she wants to do about stopping crime.
You just walked through the changes you'd like to see from the punitive aspects. What about preventative? Do you or the president plan to do anything to address the root causes of crime in DC, such as truancy?
My job is to try to heal the victims and prosecute the criminal. Everybody else can deal with rehabilitating the individual. I honestly am not concerned about why they commit crimes. My concern is if they commit crimes. My concern is the victims of the crimes. That's my job as a U.S. attorney. Go ahead.
But just follow up on that quickly.
Is a felony one. And
she's unconcerned with it. I'm gonna play it every time that there's this mindset that they're going after crime. Her brain malfunctioned for a second. She was asked, what are you doing to prevent? And she had never considered that word prevent. She went, prevent. No, we need crime, or we need the perception of overwhelming crime. So Stephen Miller's sorry ass can go on TV and say, we have to stop this. We need that. Or else, what is our secret army going to do? Who are we going to scare you with? We have to say we're going after the younger folks because the younger folks have the energy and the perspective and understand what's going on. This is what going after juvenile crime looks like in Washington, D.C. This is a part of more of what I got from some of these folks in the streets. Again, Frankie Centric. Afeni is the community activist that was then arrested in this video, but I want to set the stage for you guys. This whole thing started at a metro station in DC. These metropolitan officers are harassing young boys for fare jumping or fare skipping, whatever it is that they call it, because that's violent crime. And number two, who knows if it's even right? They're searching for crimes that aren't there. So, in folks that are again doing like that other young man was talking about, filming these illegal actions, watch how they respond to this young woman who's standing there and refuses to just cooperate with their investigation that means nothing to her.
Do us a favor. Shut the fuck up. I'm on this side. Shut the fuck up and stop fucking talking to me. It's my.
So right now I'm stopping you
For
fare
what?
evasion.
For what? I just scanned my fucking card.
Right.
You just saw me scan my fucking card.
Here's
Get the
where I
fuck out of my
think, let me
face.
see your ID.
Get the fuck out of my face.
Let me see your ID.
I don't have it. Get out of my face. Because I just scanned my fucking card. You just watched me.
One more time.
Did you just watch me scan my
Let
card?
me see your ID.
Okay, let me see my citation. But all y'all just watch me scan my card, right? I don't have it. I just said I don't have it. Get the fuck out of me.
Come on, call Nene. Call Nene right now. Open up. Open the door.
Stay back. Stay back. Stay back. Stay back. Stay back. Stay back.
I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
Stay back.
This is what you're here for. Defense this person and you're jumping on them. Are you proud of yourself?
Yeah, man. She not ain't no threat, man.
Yeah, that's wild. Y'all see that? What did she do? What did she do?
I'm saying, man. She not ain't no threat.
They just detained the female.
She wasn't even.
When I was on the phone with you, she's like on the side of the thing. I'm thinking she just recorded. The one cop just kept pepper spray.
Yeah, you want to pose? Sir, can we get your badge number?
S208.
Thank you.
That's the officer that attacked that young woman for standing there and recording. Again, that's the crime that Janine Pirro apparently wants to increase to an adult violation. I don't know how old the woman was that got attacked, but they were going after anybody for any reason. And I guess that cop feels accomplished because they got the opportunity to then arrest and pepper spray her for standing there. Oh, I'm sorry. And telling them a few bad words like, get away from me. I don't need to show you this. I don't even need to talk to you. Give me my citation for your accusation of me fare jumping and then move on. He didn't want that. He didn't like being disrespected. I want to give you guys the full story of what happened to this activist, Afeni. This is after they arrested her.
I want people to know that this is a fascist takeover of DC, and that our youth are going to be directly impacted by this.
Get out of the way.
It doesn't fucking matter about me. I will be fine. Our kids will not be.
The police just used excessive force, detained Afeni, pepper spray her in the face.
Did you guys see that shot of her when they circled? She's standing there at the turnstile recording, not even looking at them, recording and looking this direction. And that was the offense. Like I said, this is the violent crime that Donald Trump keeps touting every time he goes in front of cameras. This is the violent crime that Janine Pirro is all amped up about and wants to go after 14, 15, 16-year-olds over. Recording you conducting your illegal activities. They don't want you to see it. They don't want you to document it, and they don't want everyone else to watch this. By the way, yesterday when I posted the stuff about the veterans that are having to sit in, or the other veteran that said a fire to the American flag to prove a point about Trump's executive order that means nothing, all those types of things, they don't get promoted. They don't get pushed on these social media channels. These folks that are doing this stuff, they got some following, but not enough people are talking about it. It's why I wanted to really highlight this. So I hope you guys aren't bored, but it's going to continue. I'm going to talk about the things that are happening in the streets, the pushback that's happening, the illegal activities that these secret police are then conducting on folks, and the way that people have to continue to fight from arrest to release to then also whatever case that they generally tend to drop because it's always bullshit. Matter of fact, again, that activist spent the night in jail, and this is when she was released. And look at the crowd that showed up. They didn't realize that she had support. That's community activism. Watch this.
About it.
It's inspirational stuff, man. I'm sorry, it's inspirational. And this is the answer to all the questions of when are we gonna do something. They've been doing something, man. Young folks like that are doing something. They're organizing their communities to push back against illegal behavior of this fascist government. I think it's worth seeing. I think it's worth showing. Here's her attorney, and he spoke about what it is that they then did to her, and pay attention to what they ended up charging her with. Listen closely. See if you can find a charge.
The good news is Afeni has been released, pepper sprayed, still burning up from that pepper spray. As her attorney, can you give us an update of where we stand right now?
Now all of the charges have been dropped. She didn't even need an actual official court date that decided that the charges were not worth pursuing. And that is sad because Afeni had to spend an entire night in jail for a crime that she did not commit and for crimes to which she should not have been arrested for in the first place. And how many people during this week has this been happening to? How many people under this administration has this been happening to? And how many people is this going to be happening to over the next 30 plus so days that the president is going to be occupying DC?
Any evidence that she was specifically targeted?
No, I think that officer thought that he just had just a regular person, and he made probably what's going to end up being the biggest mistake in his career by arresting somebody like Afeni, who has acted in the community for a very long time. As you saw, there were tons of people out here supporting her, and sometimes, you know, the officers get lucky and they get people that unfortunately don't have that same support. But again, that's why you have behind me, we have Free DC, who's out here every single week. As soon as people are released, they have food, they have water, they have resources for them because the government is not providing that for them. They're arresting them and they're just throwing them back in the community without any of these resources. The District of Columbia's crime rate is at a 30-year low. Unfortunately, MPD has been trying to take credit for that. But I take it back to Free DC. I take it to Harriet's Wildest Dreams. I take it to Life After Release. These are organizations that have been in the community for years, that are making a change, that have given people resources, and that have been lowering the crime rate, not through increased police presence, but by awareness and by resources. And that's what we need more. We don't need the National Guard.
That's how these things work. That's what Wes Moore, governor of Maryland's been saying. That's what the mayors of Baltimore and Chicago have been saying. As the crime rates lowered, they're doing stuff within the community. They don't like to invest in the people that Jeanine Pirro and Donald Trump keep saying don't matter. Why do you think they were so mad when the Black Lives Matter movement started? They hated the term. The term gives way too much humanity to people that they want to strip all humanity from. So it's working through the community, but they'll attack that too. It's in the roots of this country. Anytime folks that have been oppressed do something for themselves and elevate their community, they try to push back down on it and destroy those communities. It's more of that history that we don't like to teach each other, or we definitely strip up or call it radicalism. One more time. The folks that are part of this, I got me those videos from are Frankie Centric. Find them all on Instagram. Harriet's Dreams. Facts and Fire is Afeni, that activist that was illegally arrested who had no charges. And Chuck Modi's doing a lot of the video journalist reporting that's going on with those folks, putting the camera in front of the people to get a chance to talk about this. I apologize if you guys don't like that, these topics, but these topics are what is it we're dealing with in this country. These topics are what's going to push back against this rogue president when there's a Democratic Party who's like, let's wait until 2026. But every day people being victimized, killed, injured, and thrown around in whatever kind of legal system troubles that they want. That's why Jeanine Pirro wants to get rid of cash bail and call it criminal behavior, because they want to just sweep anybody off the streets and say, that's my criminal and you can't get out. Again, I'm going to talk more tomorrow about more of this. Sorry, I'm going to talk more about it tomorrow. Last story on this regularly scheduled asshole in the White House. Remember Donald Trump said that, you know, nobody wants a dictator? I mean, that people want a dictator, but he doesn't want a dictator. This wasn't that one. This is the second time he's done this. Watch.
And a lot of people are so the line is that I'm a dictator, but I stop crime. So a lot of people say, you know, if that's the case, I'd rather have a dictator. But I'm not a dictator. I just know how to stop crime. And a lot of people are so.
He's not a dictator, but a lot of people are saying they want a dictator. Again, like I said, it's not the first time.
So I'm thinking about, you know, when I have some slob like Pritzker criticizing us before we even go there, I made the statement that next should be Chicago, because as you all know, Chicago is a killing field right now. And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him. Freedom, freedom. He's a dictator. He's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense and I'm a smart person.
He's not a dictator, but people say that they want a dictator. Dictators usually say things like, I can do anything I want because I'm a dictator. I wonder if he picked up on that before he said actually that same thing.
So I would have much more respect for Pritzker if he'd call me up and say, I have a problem. Can you help me fix it? I would be so happy to do it. I don't love, not that I don't have the right to do anything I want to do. I'm the president of the United States. If I think our country's in danger, and it is in danger in these cities, I can do it. No problem going in and solving, you know, his difficulties. But it would be nice if they'd call and they'd say, would you do it? And
I have the right to do anything that I want to do. Do you guys remember when that dictator Barack Obama said that? Do you remember when that sleepy Joe Biden said that when they were overreaching with the government? But the guy openly says it. Nobody wants a dictator. I mean, they said they want a dictator, but maybe I don't really want to be a dictator. But I am president, and that means I can do anything that I want to do. Do you guys think he's joking still? Because I didn't think he was joking when he said that on the campaign trail. When Sean Hannity asked him, they're saying you ought to be a dictator. Isn't that crazy, Donnie? Isn't that crazy? And he goes, I'm be dictator on day one, but only for one day. I think he waited until August to then fully say that he's going to be a dictator 3 times and then describe how he can do anything that he wants to do because he's the president. You know what else these dictators do? They surround themselves with ass kissers who can't wait to drop to a knee and find whichever aspect of his ass that hasn't been kissed yet and get their tongue nice and wet and roll it all over it. In fact, there was a room full of these idiots just yesterday that couldn't wait. They were in line. Some of them wrote down their declarations of how much they love this piece of trash. Watch.
If you all haven't stopped by the Department of Labor, Mr. President, I invite you to see your big, beautiful face on a banner in front of the Department of Labor, because you are really the transformational president of the American worker, along with the American flag and President Roosevelt.
Working for this government, for you, is the greatest honor of my life. I tell it to everybody, and I really do feel that way, and I thank you.
You have breathed life back into the profession of law enforcement. Your respect for law enforcement is so incredible. It's making a difference.
This is just such a great opportunity, really, to recognize your leadership as a true champion for working people. Well, everyone knows there's no stronger advocate for hardworking American families than you.
Well, Mr. President, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to work for you.
Our country has never been so secure thanks to you. You have brought us back from the edge.
And there's only one thing I wish for, that noble committee finally gets its act together and realizes that you are the single finest candidate since the this Nobel Award was ever talked about, to receive that reward.
It's pretty great to celebrate Labor Day with a builder who loves labor. The great Trump projects have come from the very men and women we're going into this weekend to celebrate.
Thank you for saving college football, by the way. We're all very grateful.
Midas Touch put together that montage with the glowing music behind it of Trump's cabinet. That was a cabinet meeting. That was a cabinet meeting. Oh, Donald Trump, man, it's such an honor to look at your face. Every time I see your big face draped over the sides of the Labor building, it amazes me. Oh, my God, man, every time I see you walk, I'm like, I wish I could walk like that. Oh, goodness. That's what the Scott Bessent had his ass kissing written down. It was an assignment. We pay these assholes to walk around and think of ways to praise this guy like he's Kim Jong-un. That's who he said he always wanted to be like. I remember that. But Steve Witkoff, I'm not sure which one of them took the cake. I couldn't even get to all of them. Who knows what Pete Hegseth said? But Sean Duffy, it's great to work on Labor Day with a guy who's big on labor as we lose tons of jobs, and he fires the people who were part of compiling the job data because he doesn't want to look like what he really is. It's amazing. It's wonderful. Because I want to see more of what Steve Witkoff said. That was off the chart. Steve Witkoff, if you guys don't know, was the special envoy to Russia. Think about what he's saying now. He's a special envoy sent to Russia to negotiate the end of this invasion that Vladimir Putin and Russia had into Ukraine. You know, that war that's still going on that Donald Trump said he's going to end after one day. That shit, as he's supposed to get the Nobel Peace Prize for not ending anything. Oh, and as we still massacre and destroy innocent folks in Palestine, you know, all those wars that he stops. Here's Steve Witkoff, who was also running Russian propaganda every time he left a meeting with Vladimir Putin. Here he is again. I want you guys to hear more of him.
And there's only one thing I wish for, that noble committee finally gets its act together and realizes that you are the single finest candidate since the this Nobel Award was ever talked about, to receive that reward. Beyond your success is game changing out in the world today. And I hope everybody one day wakes up and realizes that.
And the rest of them are like, that was, man, pretty good. Good job, Steve, man. I couldn't have gone that low. I feel like I said this yesterday. These guys have like families, I assume, you know, husbands, wives, kids. Man, isn't it embarrassing? You'd have to go to school the next day and be like, man, my dad, Steve, did you see him yesterday? This guy must get his ass kicked in school. Like, your dad's a bitch. Wow. Did you see him on TV talking about Nobel Peace Prizes and he wishes other folks to get their act together? Like, can you bring in his knee pads for me? Like I said, the warning signs were there. Donald Trump said, I want people to act like this around me. This is when he was not president. Oh, when he was president the first time. This is what he was looking for. This is what he was so mad didn't happen in his first term.
Are we close to seeing Mr. Kim here at the White House?
Could happen. I mean,
they talked about that yesterday.
I would have him. Yeah, I think it's something that could happen. Yeah. Hey, he's the
head of a country, and I mean, he is the strong head. Don't let anyone think anything different.
Right.
He speaks and his people sit up at attention. I want my people to do the same.
Oh, the strong head. Donald Trump definitely is talking about the strong head of the country that he wants to be like. People sit up in attention like what we just watched happen in that cabinet meeting. Is he a fascist yet? He always praised him. He always said he loves every one of them in the world. He loved him some Viktor Orban. He loved him some Vladimir Putin. He loved him some Kim Jong-un. And who did he first attack when he came into office this time? Every ally that he could think of. Invasions and taking over and making Canada the 51st state. Greenland is next on the list. Maybe Vladimir Putin can keep the land that he invaded and territory they took over, because that's the policies of this guy. He thinks the same way. But it was just all jokes. It was funny when he said he wanted to be like a dictator. It was funny when he said he's going to do it from day one. Here, I want to go to Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins. She was one of the folks that was in that room kissing ass. This is what she then also had to say about what this movement is. Again, this is a president of the United States with a cabinet that's supposed to work for the people and make their lives better. Listen to the language that she used.
Part of this effort to represent the farmers, the ranchers, the agriculture industry at this moment in time, which I do believe we're in a revolution. 1776 was the first one, 1863 or so with Abraham Lincoln was the second. This is the third with Donald Trump leading the way, and we are saving America. Part of this.
She's supposed to be representing the farmers and the ranchers and these agricultural businesses, right? The same farmers and the agricultural businesses that are going out of business, that are filing bankruptcy at rates we hadn't seen before, doubling the pace from a year ago in the same time period. But she's leading a revolution with Donald Trump. It's almost like they had this whole thing planned from the beginning. And it's not a mistake that she told Donald Trump that he's leading this revolution against all these folks under the guise that they are in the middle of this golden era of pennilessness and businesses going out. Again, revolution.
The reason that so many anchors on MSNBC, for example, are losing their minds daily is because our side is winning. And so I come full circle in this response and just want to encourage you with some substance that we are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
Fuck that guy. Kevin Roberts, one of the architects of Project 2025 that they said people were freaking out about during the campaign. This American Revolution that his agriculture secretary, who's that? The labor secretary. What's her? Brooke Rollins, agricultural secretary. They're in the middle of that same American Revolution that's going to be bloodless if people like these activists that we don't want to pay attention to stay out of the way, or else it's going to get bloody. Who are the violent ones? Who are the criminals? Who hates this country? That was before this guy was put into office. That same guy was very excited with the hand-picked vice presidential running mate in J.D. Vance. They picked every one of these folks. These are the machines behind all the propaganda and the bullshit and the glowing talk and the golden statues and the gold-plated stuff in the Oval Office. All that. These guys are serious. They were serious then, and they're now seeing all of their plans come into fruition. But Donald Trump had no idea about that. He just has an ag secretary that's speaking the same language as this guy who wants to murder Americans was speaking. During that little, ass-kissing session, Brooke Rollins also talked about his big, beautiful face over the edge of the Labor Department. Yeah, Department of Labor building. I don't know if you guys had seen that. Here's a picture of that. This is the United States of America, bro. Look at this. Look at this. America's workers first. America's workers are losing work. American companies are losing money. Foreign businesses and countries are trading around us. And the ones who are still doing it here are charging us for it. I'm sorry, Donald Trump is charging us for it. But as long as he puts a big draping picture of his face over the side of a building, suddenly none of that is real anymore. I pointed out Kim Jong-un. Let me show you guys this. Isn't it weird? It's weird how people like Kim Jong-un and North Korean leadership put pictures of their faces on the sides of buildings because they're dictators. And they want to, every time anybody walks around and by it, you realize, I'm not sure which one of these leaders are. It's multiple. There's a lineage of these guys. So I don't know. Maybe that's Kim Jong-il. And then maybe his dad. I don't know. But it's the same idea. Is he a dictator yet? Okay. John's show is starting. I just wanted to make that last point. There has to come a point when you fight back. If you don't fight back, they're just going to punch you in the face. Stephen Miller already said it. They're coming for you. That's what they want. Thanks, you guys. If that wasn't wild enough for you, go tell John and the TDR crew that I said, hey, tell them we had a great time at the watch party and they should come over and see more of this, because I feel like not enough people are talking about it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We're headed on the downswing of the week. It's a Thursday watch party tomorrow. All these, as usual, all these stories will be put up on the page afterwards. Go ahead, find those, view those. As I'm saying before, man, the algorithm does not push these types of stories. They don't want it out there. So please go find it. Let folks know. Share it. Like these streams. Like those videos as well if you enjoy what's happening. And also subscribe so they know what's really going on here. I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can. We'll see you guys tomorrow.